The day, Professor Dr. R.
You are not audible.
Anushmi, your voice is not coming. Just check your mic.
Vice Chancellor, the ICFA University Dehradun, Brigadier Rajiv Sethi, Registrar, the ICFA University Dehradun, Professor G.F. Chakrabarti, Assistant Professor and in charge ICFA Tech School, Dr. T.K. Mandal, Associate Professor and Coordinator for Center for Intellectual Capital and Institutional Building, and Dr. Sanjeev Kumar, Assistant Professor and Academic Coordinator of ICFA Tech School Dehradun. I would also like to welcome all the participants who have joined us today and would request all the participants to kindly fill the feedback form during the session that shall be circulated on the Zoom platform through the chat box and in the comment section on YouTube. Also, you are welcome to ask the questions through the same platforms. Now, I would like to pass on the mic to Professor Dr. Muddu Vinay, Vice Chancellor, the ICFA University Dehradun, to address the gathering. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, respected Professor R.P. Mohanty, BOG member, all the deans of the schools and HODs of the schools, Registrar Brigadier Sethi, faculty members and research scholars. I think we are very thankful to Professor Mohanty, who had taken time and given his consent today on how to do research. He is a person expertised in academics, especially on the research area. I'm sure that this 1 hour session will be a starting point to everybody how to do the research and all the things. I once again thanks to the Professor R.P. Mohanty, who had be there with us today and talking about how to do research. Thank you very much, and Anushmani, you can take forward.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your kind words. Now I would take the privilege to introduce the speaker of the day, Professor Dr. R.P. Mohanty, sir. Professor Dr. R.P. Mohanty is currently engaged as Chief Consultant of Shiksha O Anusandhan, Deemed University, Bhubaneswar, where he was the former Vice Chancellor. He is also the National President of Indian Institution of Industrial Engineering. He was the former Senior Advisor to ICFI Group of Universities in India. He has 52 years of academic and industry experiences in top management positions in India and abroad. He has received prestigious awards such as Professor P.C. Mahalanobis Distinguished Educator Award from Operational Research Society of India and has received Lifetime Achievement Awards from IIIE and Institution of Engineers India, MTC Global, Association of Indian Management Scholars, AIMS USA, and Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Award as the Distinguished Educator of India and Outstanding Academician Award from Indian Institution of Materials Management, Distinguished Leadership Award in Academics from American Biographical Institute, USA, and also many other awards such as Utkal Shri Award, Excellence in Research and Innovation Award, Exemplary Leadership Award to Industrial Engineering Profession, Distinguished Alumni Award, Bharat Ratna Sir Vishweshwarya Award, Intellectual Colossus Award, etc. Also, he is a fellow of IETI Hong Kong and Indian Institution of Industrial Engineering, Indian National Academy of Engineering and Operational Research Society of He has published published 18 books, more than 350 research papers in a number of government. He has written hundreds of master's thesis. He is the governing board member of Professional Association in India as a distinguished academic leader. The more we say about him, the less it is. So with this, I would now so
Shall I move on? Sanjeev, shall I move on?
Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Okay. I am extremely grateful and obliged to ICFA University Dehradun authorities, particularly to the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Honorable Registrar, and all the distinguished deans and faculty members. First of all, Professor Dr. T.K. Mandal has invited me, and Dr. Sanjeev Kumar is the principal person who has encouraged me and motivated me to deliver a talk on this particular topic. I also welcome to all the participants to this particular webinar, and those who are outside of the ICFA Dehradun, I also welcome them with thanks and gratitude. My topic, I have chosen how to do research. Why I have chosen, during my 52 years of work experience, both in academics, almost 42 to 43 years, and in industry in top management positions for 10 years, I have been associated with many universities, many institutions, and I have seen there are many institutions in our country, also in other countries, particularly in developing countries. Many of the faculty members do not know how to do research. But let me just start speaking to you that what is an university. Many people I know, they do not know what is an university. When I was the Vice Chancellor of Shiksha Anusandhan, way back in 2011, when I joined, before that, Mr. Kapil Sibal, the HRD Minister, appointed a very high-level committee to evaluate different universities across the country. And they identified some universities are not worth being named as a university. I've very thoroughly gone through the report of Tandon Committee, who was the chairman of that committee, and after that, Dr. Sam Pitroda Knowledge Commission report. They have defined what an university is. I think these are the two very important documents. I would request university teachers must read these two documents. An university, when you look for something different. Though I have given in a particular slide what is university education, the education is that education whose foundation is formed from the complex of social and humanitarian subjects oriented to psychological and spiritual training of the person, and his acculturation on this ground conveys knowledge of at least one special form of social consciousness, public consciousness, as the basis for the future creative work and practical activity for the professions of that sphere. Don't think that there are no technical universities. Technical universities has to also serve the humanity. What I mean by giving you this particular slide, an university basically stands on three pillars. Stands on three pillars. Sanjeev, go ahead. Next, three pillars. Please see. I have given what is university excellence. I'll give you several stories here, examples. In 1999, I was invited by Chinese government to Beijing, and they were organizing a conference, a symposium and the title of the symposium, the title of the conference was How to Produce Nobel Laureates in China. Way back in 1999, that was their plan at that time. At that time, there are no world-class universities in China. But today, if you go to the internet and search, you will find the world-class universities are not only in USA or in European countries, but in China has also created many world-class universities across the country. How did they do it is a different story, which I am not going to discuss here. If somebody asks me a question, I will answer at the end. But the excellence of an university, when you read the World Bank report or many scholars report, how excellence is reached, excellence of any organization, that to an university, is arrived at by two things. One, if you can create a homogeneous alloy of strategy and culture, both strategy on one side, culture on the other side, then you create excellence. This is the theory of Peter and Waterman, and they wrote this book way back in 90 in search of excellence, in search of excellence. And excellence is an alloy of strategy as well as culture. But strategy, as you know, the strategy of the university is what? To educate, to create new knowledge, and to distribute that knowledge for the benefit of the humankind. And the excellence here, what I have gone through from different reports of world-class university, they have defined that the excellence of an university stands on three pillars. Three pillars. One, quality of teaching and learning, quality of research and publications, quality of extension service. These are the three pillars of excellence in case of an university. I have seen many universities across India, either as a PhD examiner or as a recruitment expert or as board member or anyway, but I find most of the universities they do not have strength in these three pillars. Some people will organize conferences. Some people do not do any research or publication. And only some universities, they focus only on teaching and learning. But let me tell you, a faculty member can gain competency, not a teaching and learning competency, without doing research is a really great mistake on our part. So quality of teaching and learning is dependent on quality of research and publications. Because unless you create new knowledge, how long you will be dependent on the borrowed knowledge produced by advanced countries. This is a pity in our country. Many of the teachers I have seen, they simply copy from a particular book, prepare some slides or prepare some transparencies and go to the class without adding any value to that lecture. So when you see the quality of teaching and learning has to improve, It has to improve through quality of research and publication. I'll come to how to do research later. Quality of research and publication. That is the inherent strength of a faculty member. Because a faculty member is a knowledge worker. Knowledge worker is not a manual worker. When you talk somebody is a knowledge worker and he is engaged in teaching and learning, then he has to create knowledge, develop knowledge, and then finally he has to distribute knowledge. And that is what quality of extension service. Distributing knowledge to the society is another task. I will tell you who is a teacher first. Who is a teacher? Sanjeev, go ahead. Next. A teacher affects eternity. He can never tell when his influence stops. Teaching should be such that what is offered is perceived as a valuable gift and not as a hard duty. Please be very careful in listening to me, what I am saying. A teacher, it is the supreme art of the teacher to awaken joy in creative expression and knowledge. That is what Albert Einstein said it. Go ahead. Go to the next one. We think of the effective teachers we had over the years with a sense of recognition, but those who have touched our humanity, we remember with a deep sense of gratitude. Go to the next one. Go to the next. Just see, cut previous one. Be very careful in understanding this. I have created this, what you call the ethical responsibility of a university teacher. Remember, a university teacher is different from a school teacher. A university teacher is different from the college teacher. University teacher is something different. You see, we refer to the work of university professors, Oxford or Cambridge or Massachusetts, Harvard, Stanford. They are university teachers. And you see here, this is the 4 gears of ethical responsibility of a university. These gears are in synchronous. Those who are from mechanical engineering background, they can understand what this gear means. The first gear is the teacher must be a leader to the new generation. Leader to the new generation, the upcoming generation. As a teacher, your personality to attract students and generate creative thinking in the minds of the students. That is your personality. As an agent of social change, you see, I'll give the name of whom I have met, a Nobel laureate, a particular person, Professor Goodenough, who works in University of Texas at Austin. I had the fortune of meeting him in 2019 in the Austin campus. He is basically a mechanical engineer and he was working in the area of material science. And that helium battery for which he got the Nobel Prize, you see what is a helium battery and how it has created a great impact in the entire world and the entire society. So he is an agent of social change. Similarly, all the Nobel laureates or all the professors who are working in the area of different disciplines, they are the agent of social change as a leader to the next generation. And finally, the final gear is profession beyond your boundaries. You are a teacher by profession. Your job is to teach, but what is your profession beyond your boundaries? Boundaries means when you become a professional member of any society, you extend your boundary to serve the professionals in a different manner. For example, a doctor, he has got a profession beyond the boundaries of the hospital. and he goes, carries out I camps, operations for the social service. These 4 gears of ethical responsibility is a different concept altogether which I have developed over the years. Is very, very important. Please understand this particular slide. And when you look to these gears from these eminent, what should be the competency of a teacher? Sanjeev, go to the next one. What is the competency of a university teacher? Definitely skills and knowledge necessary for top performance, but not sufficient. Skills and knowledge are necessary conditions to become a teacher, but you cannot become a top performer, and therefore what is required for your longer term success, which I'll explain at the end. What is longer term success? That is what you call the lifetime achievement award or lifetime recognition, that I'll come at the end of this particular lecture, and which is values, social role, self-image, trait, and motive. These are in the bottom and these are at the top. These you display, but these are very, very important competency of a university teacher or any teacher, because I always define a teacher is a secular individual, a teacher is an inclusive individual, a teacher respects democratic values, freedom of expressions in the classroom and elsewhere. And these are by which the traits and self-image he creates and becomes a leader to the next generation. Go to the next one. Go to the next one. And how do you build your competency? Your competency will be built first. Learning is very, very important. And how do you learn? Probably by research you will learn. You cannot learn by observation you can learn. You can learn by different methods. There are many methods of learning, which we are not going to discuss, but learning creates knowledge. Learning creates knowledge, and knowledge fuels innovation, and innovation breeds change, and change again accelerates learning. And this change, what I mean here, the change is transformation, not conformation. That since you have a class, you will go and prepare some slides or presentation slides or some transparencies. You go to the class, you do not bring a change in the minds of the students or the learners. Change is transformation. That is an organic process. A teacher has to bring change in the classroom, in the minds of the PE students, in the minds of the other researchers, other publishers, other co-workers, by bringing transformation, not conformation or deformation. Actually, transformation. Transformation is much more valuable compared to conformation or deformation. Many teachers I have seen, they simply conform to the writings of a book and they go on delivering in the classroom without adding any value. Similarly, I have seen some teachers go on dictating a note in the classroom and students simply write. That is deforming the students. Is it a, just listening class? No. So, change accelerates learning. And learning creates knowledge. Knowledge fuels innovations, and innovation breeds change. This is the cycle for competency building in the minds of a university teacher. Okay, next. Now, I'll go how to do research model. So we have seen that first of all, what we will do, we will we have understood so far that quality of teaching and learning will improve only when we create new knowledge, only when we do research. But many people I know, I have seen, I have been an examiner of many theses, not only in engineering, also in humanities subjects, also in mathematics and management subjects. I have seen in my lifetime, I am a very liberal teacher. I do not have any intention to reject the thesis. I simply ask for modification, rework if I do not find it doesn't conform to the standards. But I give some kind of advice. Similarly, I am a reviewer of more than 50 journals across the world. And I have seen many papers come to me for review. And what I do, normally I do not reject. I suggest how to improve the quality of research and publication by reworking. So first thing that a researcher should have, the first quality which I consider is the humility to respect others' opinion. That means every journal, good quality journal, I am not talking of ordinary journal or Indian journals and all that thing, Scopus index or other index journals, peer reviewed, internationally referred, they have lot of values. But unfortunately, we do not encourage our faculty members to publish in those journals because we do not provide resources or facilities. So when we talk of research, research is not just a review of literature. Research is not just going to some organization, writing a case example that I studied this. I have been an examiner in my initial career time. When I was a professor in NITI Bombay, for many years I was professor there. I was a BTech thesis examiner of IIT Bombay students. And at that time, I'm talking of 1980s only. At that time, I was seeing that many of those students were writing their thesis, BTech thesis. I'm not talking about MTech thesis or PhD thesis, BTech thesis. That was a compulsory during our student days. BTech thesis, MTech thesis, they are all publishable research work. The type and quality of work those IIT students are doing, today I do not find that kind of work even with our PhD scholars. I'm just telling, because I'm a teacher, I'm your friend, I'm your colleague. I want to give real advice to all of you. Because I'm a senior teacher and I have spent 52 years as a teacher. But today I do not find that kind of thing. Why it has deteriorated over the years? Probably is it because of the lack of concern for quality or lack of concern for quantity? Just for the sake of accreditation, if you look for the number, then your quality will suffer. So I'll give you anyone who is interested to do research afresh or would like to guide research as a supervisor, this model is very, very important. Okay. Just see here, this diagram, the activity model for process of scientific inquiry. Research is the process of scientific inquiry. It is not only writing a newspaper article in the newspaper or being an anchor in the television channel. Because an anchor has to also to go for scientific inquiry, not just bias towards some political parties or to some political individuals, or scientific inquiry. I'll give a simple example of scientific inquiry before I go to this model. All of us are observing every day that an apple falls downward. But Newton was the fellow who was also observing every day. And then, after observation, he came to the conclusion why every object is falling downwards. So he came out with theory of gravitation. And from theory of gravitation, the entire Newtonian mechanics emerged. See the process of development, scientific inquiry. The entire mechanics as a subject which physics people teach initially to the students in the undergraduate classes, and the Newtonian mechanics, engineering mechanics, they started. Then from engineering mechanics, it was statics and dynamics evolved. And when this was challenged, the Newtonian mechanics was challenged again by another great scientist, which is Albert Einstein, that he says, because Newton thought that every gravitation forces or every mechanical forces are basically governed by space and time, it is only governed in a static manner. So he brought the theory of relativity, and he says the theory of relativity. So this is how the scientific inquiry has progressed over the years. Same thing happens in the area of management science. See, Henry Fayol gave the principles of management, but that came again from the book of bureaucracy. F.W. Taylor gave the principles of scientific management. So then you see, today the principles of scientific management has emerged as a bigger discipline known as industrial engineering, operations research, operations management, and finally we are talking today data science or data analytics, business intelligence, all these things have emerged. So scientific inquiry is this. So you have to observe first. First step is observation. When you observe the nature, the field, the ground realities, probably you can come to a lot of thinking process, overthinking. You'll see some problems exist somewhere. You look to the Thomas Edison, you look to anybody, any scientist of great name, observing is first. Because from observation, you came to the root definition of the problem. Root definition. Why it is happening like this? How it is happening? What is happening? These are the three things, three questions. What is happening? Why it is happening? How it is happening? When it is happening? If these are the questions, through observations you can come, then you can come to a proper definitions of the problem. Because in any paper, research paper, the definition of the problem is very, very important. And before the definition of the problem, what you write in the research paper or what you write in the thesis, a chapter called introduction. The introduction comes out of observation. Why the problem? What is the problem? What is the rationale of the problem? What is the significance of the problem? Please remember these things. They are very, very important. Rationale, significance, and these are the two very important things for defining the problem. Why this problem? But let me give an example. We drive in the city. We face a problem of congestion, traffic congestion. Why the problem is happening? What is the problem is happening? When it is happening? How the problem is happening? Then you come to the defining of the problem. Define the problem, then the other research methods, tools, techniques, everything will apply to solve the problem of congestion. Defining the problem definition is the most difficult task, Many papers, research papers, when you publish, get rejected because the proper, accurate definition of the problem has not been properly articulated. That's one of the reasons, I'll tell you. If you properly articulate the problem, and the definition of the problem is not a resistance only. The problem has got multiple dimensions, and that multiple dimensions can be observed, from the observation stage, multiple dimensions of problem. Its impact, defining the problem is very, very important. So problem solving is not important. Identification of the problem is much more important for a researcher. Identification of the problem. And for identification of the problem, you have to look for what you call the literature. Literature review is observations as well as definitions of the problem. Please understand, in every research paper or in every PhD thesis, you write a chapter called Review of Literature. I know review of literature, many scholars or many papers they write simply collection of some literature from here and there without making any interpretation. Define, when you want to define the problem, you cannot do it. Literature is called the survey of the state of the art. Till this time, how the field has evolved. Suppose you would like to do a research in the area of Industry 4.0. In Industry 4.0, which is taught today, how it has evolved. So it has evolved from first industrial revolution, second industrial revolution, third industrial revolution, and Industry 4.0 is called the fourth industrial. How it is? In first industrial revolution, you thought of the mechanical engineering, invention of the steam engine, invention of the water wheels, invention of the turbines, water power, steam power, all these things. In the second industrial revolution, we went into what we call the electricity, and also in the third industrial revolution, you went into electronics and computer technology. In the fourth industrial revolution, it is the all combinations of all these things but driven by cyber security, cyber modeling. So this is the evolution. Similarly, I'll talk another evolution. Say, for example, I have a book on emotional intelligence because one of the students of mine worked with me on PhD in emotional intelligence. And when we studied the emotional intelligence from the literature, we could come to the conclusion that in 1816, in the French, the whole concept of intelligence was evolved. That is the origin, intelligence. Then it came to what? Then it came to intelligence quotient, definition of IQ. Then after a long time, in 90s, only in 90s, the concept of emotional intelligence come and emotional quotient was defined by Daniel Goleman. And hundreds of researchers across the world have worked on measuring emotional intelligence. But we could identify the problem that nobody has attempted how to measure the emotional intelligence of the school children and the college going children. So we took up that project and we measured the emotional intelligence and we created different models of measures and all that. That book has been published in USA by Kendall Hunt Publishing from our state. And that book is very widely and largely followed in United States universities. And some universities are also in India trying to procure that book and making it a curriculum. Because emotional intelligence is now a part of the curriculum in every discipline. Because unless you become emotionally intelligent, you cannot carry creative work. So, defining the problem is what you call first study the literature, observing literature, classify the literature, create a map of the literature, and then find out to which particular class your research belongs. I think it is clear to you or not, I do not know. You can ask me a question. Classification is a must. Then you can define the problem. Classification, what I mean, when we were studying in class 1, our teacher was teaching us about classification. He said the animal world. Animal world can be classified into mammals and non-mammals. Mammals can be classified into vertebrata and non-vertebrata. Like that, that is what the hierarchy of classification. You cannot work on vertebrata and non-vertebrata together or mammals and non-mammals together. Then you have to put your map here. This is my scope of my research. So defining the problem from the literature and from the literature finding out the research gaps, limitations of the previous research will give you a real clue for defining the problem. Nowadays, literature review is being considered very, very important in any research publication. What people are calling it is meta-analysis, meta-analytic theory of any subject. Because the artificial intelligence and machine learning is helping them to classify literature. I have seen, in fact, one of my students who is working with me is a professor in IIT Kharagpur. He didn't have a PhD because he was my very old student after working in industry for many years. He has joined in IIT Kharagpur as a professor because of his industry experience. He wants to do PhD, then he requested. He is working on a problem on sustainability of supply chain. And I told him you have to do a meta-analysis of the sustainability of supply chain. He, by using the machine learning algorithm and artificial intelligence, he has collected more than 27,000 papers, more than 27,000 papers, and he's classifying the literature, the objectives, the scope, the basis of analysis, methodology used. All these things are now being done very easily through machine learning algorithms. Defining the problem is this. I think you are clear or not, I do not know, but you have to define the problem not from simply observation, but study of the state of the art and classification of the state of the art, then finding out the research gaps and identifying this is the problem, but there is a scope for advancing the knowledge frontier. Because a literature review, I as an examiner, I am telling you, I always give emphasis on a PhD thesis. What is the knowledge base of the research scholar? The knowledge base of the research scholar can be evaluated how much he has put in the review of literature and how much he has. When I take the defense examination also, I not only ask that what he has done, but how much knowledge he has gathered in the process of research work by studying the literature. That creates the foundation of the research. So review of literature is the foundation for doing the research. Then you come to forming the question that what type of analysis you will do forming the question. And that means after the problem definition, you are going into what you call the research design. Research design, which is the heart of the thesis, which is the heart of the research paper. Research design has to be a system thinking. That it is a system thinking. That every element of the research you have to integrate in the research design. It is not the research methodology what is being taught in the management. It is not simply research methodology. Research design is the system thinking. System thinking. The system thinking is the subjects of engineering. A system consists of varieties of elements, but every element it has got a unifying purpose and a direction, and that has to be integrated together, that is what the research design is. Where you would say forming the question, investigating the known, articulating the unknown, carrying out this, examining the results, and reflecting on the findings. After reflecting on the findings, all these steps, the various steps in the research design, and after the design, you have to validate the design, you have to prove, you have to find results, you have to validate the hypothesis, the questions that you generated, then reflecting on the findings means, that means here there is a connection between reflecting on the findings with the review of literature. Please understand, this is very, very important. When you have gone through literature, you have seen that what other researchers have done. You have that knowledge with you. Now, when you have got certain findings after your analysis, after your research process implementation, you see how are you different from the other researchers. Then you will come that you have done some creative work or some innovative work. Innovation doesn't mean copying. Innovation doesn't mean plagiarism. Inverse, because I find today at least we are going from a plagiarism chain of PhD thesis and research papers. But when I was the Vice Chancellor, I have received letters from the editors of different journals about faculty members. That, sir, this is a plagiarized work. What action are you going to take against this particular faculty member? I have seen many examples. Even when I was a faculty member, at that time I have seen many professors, for the sake of expediency and showing in the interview that I have published so many papers, and they were copying from different sources and putting in the form of paper, and the rigorous process of analysis or rigorous process of evaluation was not there so much. But today, when you find out, reflect on your finding, you have to relate to the other researcher, and you say, this researcher has done this and found this, and my research is different than this, or my contributions is this, and my limitations are also this. You can't find out everything together. So research is also innovation, but at the same time some limitation. And those limitations will create scope for further research or other research scholars, or you can expand the work. You can expand the work for future research. Then you become an expert in that particular field of research. So this is what is the activity model for research process. Activity, that is, ask questions, define the problem, form the question, investigate the known, articulate an expectation, carry out the study, examine the results, reflect on the findings. This, up to this I have discussed. Next, ninth step is what you call activity. Ninth activity is a very, very important activity. Communicate with others. In our time when we were BTech students, in our time when we were MTech students, our teachers were not allowing us to submit the thesis, either BTech or MTech, unless we write a paper out of that. And then we have to communicate to a journal. Communicate to journal, communicate with others. If you keep it with yourself, that I have done my BTech thesis, I have done my MTech thesis, I have done my PhD thesis, I should not communicate. But today it is compulsory that before you submit your PhD thesis, earlier it was 2 international publications in Scopus Index peer-reviewed journal. Today I think they have reduced it to 1. And even some universities have allowed for presentation, even in some conferences. That means we are diluting the education system. That is a different story altogether. We are diluting. For everything we are diluting. Our quality of education is being diluted. We cannot create good quality faculty. Unless you do not create good quality faculty or good quality researchers, the nation cannot take competitive advantage. Never, never, the nation cannot take competitive. Every time we will be dependent on the developed countries for new knowledge, new equipment, new softwares, anything will be dependent. So communicating with others here is a very important point which I am talking to the researchers. You require humility. Humility. When you communicate your research papers, the papers will go to some unknown reviewers, peer reviewers who are considered to be equally knowledgeable or more knowledgeable in your field of research or in your area of problem analysis. Sometimes you get very bad comments from the reviewers, very bad comments. They reject the paper, sometimes you get very bad comments. When I was submitting paper my young days, many papers were being rejected. At that time we were telling, because at that time there were no good quality journal even in India, now it is not there also. So at that time when we were communicating papers, the papers were being returned to us with lot of filthy comments. And at that time when we were showing it, these are all racial bias. But there is no quality in the research. And when they communicate to us, we should have patience and humility to understand the comments and revise it, rework upon it, then you are doing authentic research. But we do not have, for the sake of publishing, we should have first of all patience and humility to respect others' opinions. And that is the first important attribute of a researcher. Humility, humility, humility. You must be humble to accept, and that is possible only when you communicate with the other researchers, with others. And if you do not want to communicate to other researchers through your publication, at least you should present in a conference. You should present in your institute and invite comments, feedbacks, and criticism. So be careful to understand the criticism and take care of that. The criticism must be constructive criticism because when I was working as a lecturer in mechanical engineering way back in 60s, 70s, and at that time we had compulsory seminar for all faculty members. That is one of the elements of the faculty development. Our quality of teaching and learning will improve, and our communication capability will also improve. So we were doing that in the early 70s, which I introduced in the ICFI Hyderabad also, but I do not know whether it is continuing or not, but I know in IBS, every faculty undergoes a presentation every week and they conduct the seminar very well. So as a vice chancellor also, I introduced across the university, we had 11 faculties, 11 institutes. In 11 institutes, we had weekly seminars, weekly presentation and if any faculty member goes for any conference, attending any conference, before he goes, he makes a presentation. And after he comes back, then he makes another presentation with what he could learn from the conference. By that process, you are carrying out the faculty development work, and also you are knowing in what areas researchers are also working. Just in 1st and 2nd November, I am a senior member of American Institute of Industrial Engineers. We had the annual conference. It was this year, it was a virtual conference. I attended. Let me tell you, you will not believe me, I could learn a lot of things from the global researchers. I could learn a lot of things from these 2 days. Though I was sitting from 8:30 in the night up to 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the night, because the whole conference, because that is their daytime. But fantastic conference and fantastic learning out of the type of work they are doing and presenting in these conferences. So communicating with others is very, very important. And if you communicate with others, then you are really creating the faculty development work, and research process is creating a lot of co-producer. If research is the final product, your students are the co-producers. Your colleagues are the co-producers. Don't think that is where you have to melt your ego. That don't think your work is alone. You are working with a team. You are working with your research class. You are working with your students. You are working with your faculty colleague. And if you think that I have done this work, it is not correct. Because as a teacher, your ego must be melted. Because for gathering knowledge, for seeking the knowledge, first of all, apart from the humility, you must relinquish ego. So then comes again make observation. When you go to the real world, again you make observation. Would I solve the root definition of the problem? And is my solution acceptable for the benefit of the humankind? And this is possible only when you go to the extension of this concept. Okay, go to the next one. Go to the next one. Leave all these things. Leave all these things. I have already explained. Be here. Now you look here. Intellectual standards. What are the intellectual standards of a researcher and a research thesis or research paper? They are all, first of all, clarity. Many theses and many papers get rejected because of lack of clarity. And accuracy of data and information. Remember, research is not data gathering. I have seen some people have got PhD, even in Uttarakhand, one teacher who has done his PhD from Uttarakhand. I asked him way back from 10, 12 years before that what work have you done in the selection committee? He said that I have calculated percentage. Tourism in Uttarakhand was his thesis. I have calculated, but with this percentage calculation, could you get a PhD? No, sir, I collected data. Did you do some statistical analysis? No. Did you construct some hypothesis? No. Then what did you do? Sir, I calculate so many percentage go to Badrinath, so many percentage go to Kedarnath, so many percentage go to Rishikesh. And he has got the PhD. I tell you, for getting your PhD thesis examined and passed and getting a degree is one part of the story. You scratch my back, I scratch. This is intellectual dishonesty. This is what happens in India. That you appoint examiners who are known to you, and he will appoint examiner for his student the thesis. This is intellectual dishonesty which is going on, manipulative practices in Indian scenario. This is not research. So if India wants to become a what you call Vishwaguru, which is a laughing stock now, you have to completely relinquish your intellectual dishonesty. And intellectual dishonesty, that is why when I define the university education, if you remember that particular slide, I say the spirituality. What is spirituality? People in India do not know correctly. I am a life member of Ramakrishna Mission. I am also a life member of ISKCON movement. Life member. I have learned spirituality from Ramakrishna Mission, and therefore I have studied a large number of books written by Swami Vivekananda, including his University of Chicago lecture series. The spirituality is defined by Swami Vivekananda, the spirit of service to the mankind, not chanting the name of God or telling Jai Sri Ram or Bharat Mata ki Jai. That is not spirituality. Spirituality means the spirit of service to the mankind. That is what Vivekananda has said. Vivekananda has also defined what is religion, because the teacher doesn't have a religion. The religion definition according to Swami Vivekananda is be good and do good to others. That is what religion is. That is the whole purpose of religion. Be good, you be good, and to do good to others is the whole purpose of religion. And spirituality is the spirit of service to the mankind. Say, for example, you are creating, you want your refrigerator is out of order, or your electric line is out of order, or your internet is out of order. The particular person who is serving you, if he doesn't have a spirit of service to provide to you, he is not, he may do anything, he is not spiritual. Spirituality is that. A housewife who cooks in the house, if she doesn't serve you good quality food, hygienic food, nutritious food, she is not spiritual. Spirituality is that. So every education must teach you that how to become spiritual. And spiritual is not yoga, spirituality is not chanting the name of Jai Sri Ram, chanting the name of Hare Krishna, or chanting the name of anything. Spirituality means by virtue of your profession, you are providing professional service, and your duty as a teacher is to create the future generation, because you are leader to the next generation, and your profession beyond your boundary. That is spirituality for you. So clarity, accuracy, relevance, logic. Now let me spend some time with breadth. Every research paper or every thesis has got two aspects: the breadth aspect and the depth aspect. That means if you are not very sure about the depth of analysis, at least you can expand the breadth of your thesis. The breadth of your thesis means you can expand horizontally. But when you talk of depth, you have to go vertically. That means for developing an algorithm, I am talking of the engineering faculty members, or even for management faculty members, even for law faculty members. The breadth is very important and depth is very important. But you have to compromise both on breadth and depth. Breadth and depth. Breadth and depth. And suitability, precision, significance already I have discussed. Is the research paper socially significant, economically significant? Very, very important, the significance of this thing. Then elements of thought, purpose, point of view, data, information, inference, conclusions, questions, assumptions, concepts, and implication. Implication. Because every paper today, when you publish a research paper, I am talking to the management faculty, law faculty, as well as to engineering faculty. Implications, every paper, every thesis you have to give now a section on implications of your research. Implications to whom? Implications to academic researcher, implication to the professional practitioners. Implications is a must. So, intellectual traits or virtues which you must possess, therefore, the intellectual humility. I have already told you what is humility. Intellectual humility, accepting the opinion of others with humbleness. Intellectual autonomy, because nobody should interfere with you, or you should not interfere with other researcher when he is giving a particular idea. The conflict is required. Conflict in research is into effort, because for the source of any creativity is conflict. The source of any creativity, I am again repeating, is conflict. That is friction. Without friction, you cannot create anything. You are moving on the road because there is a friction between your tire and your foot and the road. That is friction. You are able to create walking. Similarly, source of human creation or world creation is friction. Intellectual autonomy is important. Autonomy means A teacher, I consider a teacher is an autonomous institution by himself. He is not, he is working within the domain of the university. But every teacher like me or him or anybody has to become autonomous. The autonomous when within the boundaries of the laws and rules and regulations of the university, of the state, of the land, of the country, he is autonomous to think creatively. Therefore, in every constitution, democratic country, there is a freedom of expression is guaranteed. And here I would like to tell you one thing. I asked this question to many of my students. What are the what is the gift that you got from the that you got from God at the time of your birth? Many people could not answer. That when you came to this universe, when you took the birth in this universe, first thing that you started crying. When you started crying, everybody in the family became happy. That happiness came to the, or delight came to the entire family because of the expression of your voice. So expression of the voice is the biggest gift of God to the human being or to any animal. The expression of the voice. So this is what I want to tell you, that is autonomy, expression of your voice. You have given some opinion in your thesis and you have proved it scientifically, you have validated it, you have interpreted it, you have given implications of those concepts and application, and without applications you have not done, but that is your autonomy. And if criticism comes, then you have to have the humility to accept. Intellectual integrity, already I have discussed a little bit, that is plagiarism, dishonesty, manipulation. Forget all these things as a researcher. You have to, for becoming a good researcher, these are very, very important. Intellectual integrity, intellectual courage. Do you know what is the meaning of courage? I always talk to the young faculty members and young managers in my lifetime. The fear is the sign of incompetence. The moment you are competent, you do not have fear of anything, afraid of anything. Fear is the only sign of incompetence. You are afraid of somebody because you are incompetent. The moment you are competent, if your boss threatens you or anybody threatens you, you say that I am competent now. The world is a vast pasture. I can graze anywhere. If the world is a vast pasture and you can graze anywhere, why do you do not gather intellectual courage? And that courage will come only when you are knowledgeable and intellectually strong. Therefore, this intellectual courage is very important. Intellectual curiosity. Curiosity means asking questions, creative questions, questioning. Without questioning, you cannot. That is what I call every faculty member should develop, and in their minds of the students, this intellectual curiosity. What does it mean? They should ask you questions. You should not be afraid of if people ask questions to you. Curiosity will not come without asking questions. Forget this online learning and all that thing. Nobody can ask you questions. Right? So even if somebody asks, some teachers are so egoistic, they do not answer. Because I have been an administrator as well as a teacher and dean, and I have occupied all positions in my life. I have seen teachers from a close quarter. They do not develop curiosity. Why? What is the necessity of curiosity? In research, what is the necessity of curiosity? What is the ultimate purpose of doing research? Because ultimately you have to transfer it into the classroom. In the classroom, what do you develop with the students? 3 capabilities you have to develop. 1, absorptive capability, combinative capability, and integrative capability. These are 3 capabilities that have to be developed with the students. Absorptive capability means when you are teaching in the classroom, You have to tell them that how much they have absorbed. You have to ask questions, you have to interact, you have to take feedback, and finally, how much they have absorbed, you can conduct examination. But in the examination, how much they have omitted in the answer books, that is what absorptive capability. But while in the class, how much they have combined the different knowledges in doing a project work or writing a research paper or writing a term paper, that is what is combinative capability. And when they go, when they become employable, because the employability is developed in the classroom itself, not by the industry. Yes, sir? Is it all right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How much time I have?
Sir, you can carry on another 5 to 6 minutes, then we can open this question session answer.
How many minutes are there?
Sir, you can continue for the next 4 or 5 minutes, then we can open the session for question answer.
No, what I would request you, you can distribute this particular handout.
Yes, sir.
To people who have participated.
Yes, sir. Yes, sure.
Some of the last slides, right? Because everything is there. Right. Go to some last slides. I'll tell you. I'll tell you where. Methods of research, everything is there. What research is not. What are the various models of research? This thing. Because it requires 4 or 5 hours minimum. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Go to the summary and conclusion. I'll go it, and next I'll go. Next slide. So what is this? No, let me, as a teacher, what is your choice? Would you like to become powerless or you would like to become powerful?
Powerful, sir.
Choices. Okay, these are the 2 choices before you. Either you want to become a powerless fellow. It is applicable also for a manager, also for any individual. But the question is, if you want to become powerless, I have nothing to say. So you will suffer from doubt. You become unresponsive, irrational, and reactive. But I know that's not your choice. That line is completely closed for you. You don't want to become powerless. Can you define for me what is power? Can you define for me what is power? You cannot now. The power which you have read in physics, in matriculation, the capacity to do work is called power. Remember, capacity to do work is called power. It is not your position which makes you powerful. I may become the vice chancellor, I may become the prime minister. That doesn't define my power. That is authority. So power means the capacity to do work. Horsepower, when you measure the power of an engine, power of a bullock, and that is how they are defined as horsepower. Empowerment means what? Empower means giving the faculty members or even the women or the children the capacity to do work. Only when you develop their capacity, they will do better work. So you would like to become powerful. The powerful, I know many people, they have got coercive power. Coercive power, they take pleasure in coercing people, intimidating people, harassing people, and doing all kinds of nonsense with the fear. And whether there will be fear, temporary, reactive, etc. But what are the 2 powers which are important for all of us as teachers or managers? Is the utility power, our power of an utility. And utility power will increase only when we are knowledgeable, we are competent, we do research, we create new knowledge, we distribute new knowledge, and I have given all the procedures for doing the research work. You can go through everything and you will find, if you follow those ways, writing a thesis is much easier. Utility power requires fairness, functional, and influence. And finally, if you continue to deliver utility power to the society means your institution or your surroundings, right? That is what you call the principle-centered power, which is give you honor, sustained, proactive, influential, and if you would like to come in this route, finally you get the lifetime achievement award. You ultimate moksha will come only when you go through this route. Principle-centered power, and they develop those utility, distribute that utility power. When you are a teacher, you have to create a multiplier effect. You do your PhD, but if you just sit silently after doing your PhD, you are not creating multiplier effect. That every teacher who has done PhD must generate, and his students, his disciples would look to Swami Chinmayanand, look to Swami Vivekananda, look to all these Swamis, not present day Swamis, not that like Ravi Shankar or Ramdev Baba, I am not talking of. I am talking of those Swamis when you say that you find they had principle-centered power. They created millions and millions of disciples across the world. They motivated them and they created heaven on earth by virtue of their utility power, by delivering knowledge, distributing knowledge. Similarly, a teacher is ultimately an institution. Okay?
Yes,
Right.
sir.
Go to next one. Next one. What is the next one? So professional power is manifested. Your teaching, you are a teacher by profession, is manifested in total quality of service that the professional offers. Go to the next one. This is the principle-centered power of a teacher, delivers total quality service. Your reliability, your responsiveness, your accessibility, your authenticity, and your vulnerability, which you will give the lifetime honor. Lifetime honor. What is the need? The need to transform quickly. For each one of you, you have to transform quickly within the coming change, uncertainty, and competition. If you want to progress in life, you want to develop in life, you have to, there is a need for transforming very quickly. That is my simple advice to all of you who are participating. Go to the next one. Then expand your field of vision while doing research, while doing teaching. Expand your field of vision. That means there are internal threats, there are external threats, but your span of vision must be wide enough so that you can do that. Now I am finally coming, 1 minute. Swami Vivekananda's statement. He said, if we cannot practice, what do we preach? What should we change? Our practice shall we change, or preaching shall we change? We as teachers are very good preachers, similarly lost like Babas. But should we change our practices or our preaching? And therefore he said, the expanded leadership role, I am telling this, expanded leadership role of faculty members and power. That and power means what is power? Knowledge is power. But knowledge per se is not the power. The ability to use knowledge for the benefit of mankind by virtue of your contribution to the research and publication, quality of teaching and learning, the quality of extension service, you have to add your power. Right? So, how to do it? Time is short for you. Your career is also short. Diminish the time. Do it fast. Run with a speed. Add your power and run with a speed. Then you will become a great teacher, a great researcher, a great contributor, a great human being for the benefit of not the India, benefit of the whole world. Because teacher belongs to the universe. A teacher by eternity belongs to the universe. So you are a universal teacher. So remove your all kinds of narrow feelings in you. Narrow feelings, ego, hatredness, all these things you have to forget, and you have to be a universal teacher by adding power and diminishing time. Right? Thank you very much. If you have any question, I'll answer.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for delivering such an informative session, sir. It was great to get so much knowledge from your end. I don't think so. We have questions for this session. So I would now call upon Dr.
No, no,
TK Mangal to.
at least one question I would like to answer from the audience. Because I am a teacher who doesn't leave the students without asking me question.
Sir, I will be asking a question to you.
Yes.
I'm a student. Now, sir, this because I was listening about research and all the things. Now, the scenario at present in the Indian context, what you see completely, what I see also, the research focus is not at all there in academic institutions. I say that around 70 to 80%. Luckily, what happened? I'll say a self of ICFI Dehradun also. Before 2 years, there was no research at all complete. The people does not know what is the spelling of research.
So see here.
Now, sir, I will complete now. Now, like this, I don't know how many institutions are there because we came here and we inculcated people like you who made us to made us to implement in the universities are doing. Now, other institutions which are there where the research is not at all, it is none. But the NEP policy says that new policy 2020 that we should give lot of emphasis on the research, whether it will go or it will not go.
I'll tell you. You have seen the country exists for many years now. After independence, the country has existed for many years. Once upon a time, we had very good universities, like we name them as Nalanda University. There are many universities. And Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru created Indian Institutes of Technology, Indian Institute of Management, All India Institute of Medical Science, ISRO, DRDO, then your Baba Atomic Research Center, all these things, Department of Energy and all those things. From there, the foundation started. And earlier, this Tata Institute of Fundamental Research or the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, which was the Tata Institute of Science and all that, they started. They have worked for many years. They are doing extremely good work. But so far, they have not attained global standards. Why? In research, I know even when I was doing research as a teacher, I have done some sponsored research project from Department of Science and Technology, University Grants Commission, etc. But at that time, the bureaucratic procedure was so much, you can't run after making an application for many years. But only when I have seen in my life, only when Dr. Manmohan Singh became the Prime Minister, there is a lot of money available in this country for doing research, modernization of laboratory, modernization of equipment, grants, several IITs were opened, several IIMs were opened, several IIMs were opened, Indian Institute of Science Education Research, National Institute of Science. So there must be permissive, liberal atmosphere, not restrictive atmosphere. Every teacher, as I told you, is autonomous in your institute, in your university. You are promoting research. I can tell you proudly here, you are promoting research after your arrival in the ICFI Dehradun. You are promoting research. But ask the other vice chancellors who were there, they didn't understand anything. I was frequently visiting at that time for faculty development also. I know in law faculty, the then dean was doing only politics and doing all kinds of things. I know it. I am telling you because I am a frank teacher. Because I should not hide facts. You are promoting research. You see the difference you make within a period of 3 to 5 years. You will definitely make a difference. And your accreditation will improve. So these are all step-by-step gradual process. You encourage research, give facilities, give them the sufficient time. But you want to work them as school teachers, teaching for many courses without getting any kind of leisure time for doing research. When they will do the research? I know many universities and many institutes are using teachers as school teachers. So what is the question of research, promotion of research? And faculty members are totally demotivated to do research. Totally demotivated. These are all the opinions, because since I am a very frank and transparent man, people share with me many things. So these are the difficulties which you are facing. Not only from ICFI, but across the country. But when I visited in 2018 one university in Sweden. I was a visiting professor only for 15 days. I was delivering some lectures, invited. I could see the type of atmosphere, the type of culture. So what I said you in the beginning, an institution will become excellent when there is a strategy and when there is a culture. The amalgamation of the strategy alone will not make an institution great. The culture is very important. You have to create a culture of independent thinking, culture of research, culture of creativity, culture of innovation. That is what is important. I thank you very much promoting that kind of atmosphere in ICFI Dehradun. As a board member of your university, I am proud to say that they have got a very good vice chancellor now who will take this university to a different level.
Sir, I
God
want to
bless
add
you.
one more thing. Sir, as far the research is concerned, this year what we did now, we have not allowed any external PhD candidates to be taken. And we have given the preference to only the young faculty members who have qualified net and who are interested to do the PhD, so that they will inculcate what he was telling, that the institution should start with the inculcating the result research by building the faculty members especially. That already
See,
we have started this year, sir.
I know Dr. Mondal is the only fellow
Now, yeah. So we have
considerable amount of
this
research
time.
in your university. I know him very well from last so many years.
Yeah, yeah. Sir, this year I think we have taken 10
My
faculty
suggestion,
members.
sir, Sunil, my request to you is, and to the registrar, you can promote research, allow your people to collaborate with other researchers, with other universities. Let there be collaboration between different, not just for employing your graduates, collaboration for doing research. Your image of the university is dependent upon, and you can attract students, good quality students, when you create good quality faculty members.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We'll do that.
By seeing the faculty members are there, good quality. And how can a faculty member will become of good quality? Only when he is a good knowledge worker. And knowledge work is quality of teaching, research, publication, and quality of extension service you is giving. You are doing a lot of conferences, seminars, workshops, and all that they are doing. But those things should not be on borrowed knowledge, but knowledge created within the university. Within the university. What work your students, your faculty members, and your collaborators are doing, let them disseminate. That is what is extension service. Patent, registration of a patent is an extension service. Because you will know that ICFI University Dehradun faculty members have produced so many patents. So you will do it. Have patience. I have full trust in you and in your capability and your faculty's capability. I have full trust. That is why I am talking. It is not that I am talking something from vacuum, because I show you one slide, the expanded vision. The vision, that diagram you have seen, that is what is important. There are threats, but there is a hope. Between hope and the threat, we have to put our leg on the ground and see to the sky. That is what his vision is. And the span of vision is that how you can look to the sky, how up you can look, even if putting your leg on the ground. That is what is my advice to all the participants here. You will become wonderful researchers. You will become great intellectual assets only when you think of collaboration, do collaborative research work, do publication, even if it's now don't become afraid of by past rejection of your paper. Learn from that so that you get motivation out of that. But don't think it has been rejected, therefore I will not work. Motivation will only come when you take a challenge. And what the meaning of motivation is to make a move. To make a move. Because I will get an incentive, therefore I will work. No. Incentive is the secondary. The self-motivation is very, very important. That is the dynamic. Okay?
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you,
Mandal.
sir. I would now call upon Dr. T.K. Mandal, sir, to deliver vote of thanks to our speaker for the day. Over to you, sir.
Respected VC Sir, Professor Dr. Muddu Binoy, Registrar Sir, Brigadier Rajiv Sethi, today's speaker and BOG member, respected Professor Dr. R.P. Mohanty, my dear colleagues, students and participants, it is my privilege to propose a vote of thanks on the occasion of today's special talk by respected Professor Dr. Mohanty. On behalf of the ICFA University Dehradun, I would like to extend a very hearty thanks to Professor Dr. Mohanty, today's guest, for devoting his time with this valuable talk. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation to Professor Dr. Mohanty for the talk on how to do research. In fact, this is a big question before all the researchers and faculty members who are associated with the research activities and are looking for new research works. Particularly, this would be a great help for the research scholars who are pursuing research methodology course as a PhD coursework. This also at the same time, this would be helpful for the teachers who are teaching research methodology course. This would inspire us to find a right path for pursuing research activities. Specifically, his presentation on the creative expression and knowledge of a teacher, the ethical responsibility of a university teacher, different models for a good research, best practices for research design, demonstration on different research methods, selection criteria of good research problems will be very much helpful for the participants. Thank you, sir, for your nice presentation on the fundamentals of research. We have learned a lot. Thank you so much, sir. I also wish to express my gratitude to our Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Muddu Binoy sir, and Registrar Brigadier Rajiv Sethi sir for providing encouragement for arranging this special talk. Thanks also goes to my colleague, Dr. Sanjeev Kumar, who initiated for this talk, and Ms. Anus Mijoin Madam for nice organizing this event, and thanks to all the participants for their patience. I would also like to thank our system administrator, Mr. Akhilesh Singh, and his team for successful conductance of this event. Thank you all. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Right, anybody who would like to communicate with me for going further or for collaborating or for getting any kind of research paper in their field of work,
yes, sir, we will do you. We shall
communicate me with my email ID which is available, and I will request Dr. Mandal as well as Dr. Sanjeev Kumar to circulate this particular presentation to all the participants.
Yeah, will do, sir.
And if anybody has got any doubt, they would, because we must, at this age of mine, I must contribute for the development of yours. It is not my development which is important now. It is your development which is important. I thank you all. I pray